moving towards the last session of the day, that is technical panel session on the topic Smart Rail and Transport Infrastructure, Role of Government, Innovators and Private Players. I would like to invite Ms. Mona Srivastava ma'am, Chief Engineer, Indian Railways, to please join the panel. I would also like to request Mr. Kishore Nathani sir, MD and CEO, UMTC, to please join the panel. Welcome, ma'am. I would also request Mr. Ashish Agarwal sir, former GM, RCF Kapurthala, to please join the panel. I would also request Mr. Aniruddha Kumar sir, Senior VP and Head BP, Kalpataru Projects International Limited, to please join the panel. I also request Mr. Jugal Kushore Bhatti sir, former AGM RITES Limited, to please join the panel.
First of all, I am really thankful to Urban Infra Group, who has given me opportunity to speak here at Rail Trans Expo 2024 at Hotel Hyatt Centric, Janakpuri. Before I start, let me tell that today we are having diverse set of speakers from Indian Railways, KPIL, and RCF, as well as UMIC. By chance, one of our panelists, Director Operations RBLL, Mr. Rajesh Prasad, he could not join at the last moment. And today morning I have also got information that Mr. V. Narayan, he was Vice President from Tata Projects. He may not be able to join due to some urgent work. I am J.K. Bhatti, ex-Additional General Manager from RITES. I have worked in RITES for 35 years, almost in the sectors, maybe metros, airport, waterways, highways, integrity checkposts, contract management, tender, arbitration. I am BE Civil from Punjab University, Chandigarh, and I have done MTech from IIT Delhi and MBA Finance from Indira Gandhi National Open University. Then I was nominated by RITES and did International Executive Diploma from George Washington University, USA. Now today's topic is Smart Rail and Transport Infrastructure, Role of Government, Innovators and Private Players. Before I ask views of eminent panelists, let me start with the context of this session. If you see, when I say the topic is Smart Rail, Trans Infrastructure, Role of Government, Innovators and Private Players, then two questions will come in mind. One is, why Smart Rail and Transport Infrastructure? And second question, how role of government, innovators and private players is important. Now coming to first question, why Smart Rail and Transport Infrastructure? As you see that with the rapid urbanization and population of growth, the demand for efficient, safe, efficient transport system has increased. So there is a need of Smart Rail. Now what is Smart Rail? Where we integrate technologies to improve efficiency, safety, sustainability and passenger experience. When I say technology, now let me give some of the examples. What are those technologies which are being used in the Smart Rail system? One is the digital signaling and control system. When I say digital signaling, what does it do? By providing sensors and GPS, we can monitor real-time train location as well. It will avoid the collisions. Now, when I say the control system, I will give you one example of that is automatic train protection, and it ensures that trains do not exceed specified limits, violate safety norms, signals, and if a train by chance overshoot or signal passes the red signal, then it automatically intervene to slow or stop the train. Third is wireless system. We are aware that all these wireless systems, they allow trains to communicate with the control centers. So far as the artificial and machine learning is concerned, they basically analyze the real-time data sensors and predict the potential failure so that suitable action can be taken. Now coming to Internet of Things, IoTs, they generally gather data on train condition performance as well as track health and then improve real-time safety and passenger, etc. Now coming to another, we are aware that the ticketing at the apps, they will improve the accessibility as well as passenger satisfaction. Now coming to second question, how role of government, innovators and private players is concerned. If you see the government generally they formulate the policies, government support the projects and fund the projects, and all these ultimately encourage that how the investment to be done with by the private or public sector players. Now coming to innovation, the startups, they develop cutting edge technologies, and the R&D and collaboration and innovators, they basically develop new solutions. And private and these private players, if we are having the better government policies and all these, then there is opportunity that the investment by the national and international will be there. Now why I am saying all these things, basically, as smart rail and transport infrastructure offers innovative solutions, so its success depends purely on coordinated efforts from government innovators and private players as well as government. And the same will be explored in today's panel discussion. Now before taking much time, I will straightway go to the first panelist. I request all the panelists that before asking any question, I will give brief why I have asked this question, and then I will start the question and they can give the reply. If any other of the panelists they want to intervene, they can give their valuable additions. Now our first panelist is Madam Mona Srivastava. She is Chief Engineer, Indian Railways. She is BE Civil, MTech, Water Resources from IIT Delhi and MBA from FMS Delhi. She is IRSC officer of 1998 batch. Has more than 20 years experience in infrastructure, maintenance of sets, train operations, planning, designing, execution, modernization of stations, etc. Ma'am, you have worked in various capacities in Indian Railways. My first question is on government policies and effective collaboration between public and private players. I will just give the brief background of the question, why I am asking this question. Government has pivotal role in setting policies that create a favorable environment for private investment, innovation and cooperation with public agencies. The agencies' demand for efficient, sustainable and advanced transport systems, public-private collaboration is critical for development of smart rail infrastructure. My question starts now. What strategies can government implement to promote collaboration between public and private players in developing smart rail and transport infrastructure, ensuring a balance between public accountability and private sector innovation and investment? Madam Mona Srivastava, please.
A very good afternoon, everybody. A very relevant question in the smart rail context. Rather, I would start off with the smart city context, leading to the concept of smart rail. The more the cities are sprawling, as already forecasted by UN, that by 2030, almost 60% of the population would be living in cities. So that is the scale, or I would say the pace of urbanization, not just in our own country, but world over. Coming down to smart cities, smart rail, and finally boiling down to public-private collaboration. I would like to say two very important things, rather three. It's not about government policies, it's about a collaborative working. Whenever we are talking of any infrastructure project, the government has to go about it in 3 steps. First, we ought to kind of make out a proper business modeling as to what would be the source of revenue, how the revenue would be shared, how the private parties are getting benefited, what is the value generation, and then how are we making the best out of that value generation of the project. Then the second most important element is the financing, rather that is the crux. So as a government entity, when as railways, I look at it, yeah, there is a dearth of funds and we cannot finance all of our projects on an EPC basis or self-financing mode. So then we look outward, and when we look outward, we look at private players for sure. And so we look at kind of an equity sharing, or maybe it could be a debt-based funding, or we could have a hybrid system. We also look up to the international developmental organizations for kind of, risk sharing and subsidies and all such things. But then again, I would come down to one thing, that it has to be project specific. It has to be a case specific thing, and it cannot be a generalized thing. And we have to share the risk. I would not call it a policy, but I would call it as an ethos or the baseline of any government policy, that if we want to move forward with something like PPP or anywhere wherein we are looking at more of private participation, then there has to be a very, very collaborative risk sharing mechanism. We cannot just load the private player with all the risk and only have the cherry on the pie. So that's my take on this issue. I hope I have answered.
Thank you, ma'am. I will come back to you. We are having next panelist, Shri Anirudh Kumar. He is Senior Vice President Kalpatru Projects International Limited, known as KPIL. KPIL is an engineering company engaged in power transmission and distribution, buildings, workshops, irrigation, railways, oil and gas pipelines, and many more. Mr. Anirudh Kumar, he is PhD Civil and Masters in Construction Management from NICMAR and Consultancy Management from Bishpalani. He has more than 30-year experience in PMC, arbitration, tendering, BD, metro, airports, hydropower, thermal power, and many more. But with a special focus on contract management and tendering, presently heading BD and Tendering Department of Railway Business Unit. He managed overall business cycle from lead generation to contract signing. Sir, I will give you background of my question. In metro projects, the bid evaluation selection criteria are quality and cost-based selection, popularly known as QCBS. Proposals are ranked in order of weighted evaluation, that is 80% technical and 20% in the financial. Then evaluation is made on the basis of this combining weighted scores of technical and financial criteria. But still, there are hurdles and on award of project and then successful completion of mega projects. My question starts now. What are biggest regulatory and technical hurdles for successful implementation of smart rail and transport systems, and how can they be addressed?
So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anirudh, and I am representing Kalpatru Projects International Limited. And Bhatti Sahab has already given such a elaborate background. So, this conference is, the first word is smart rail. So now question comes, how this smart rail is different than the normal rail? Why this word smart came? Earlier you might have heard watches, now smart watches. Earlier you used to have mobile phones, now smart mobile phones. TV, smart TV. So what is the difference? So if you will see the smart watches with respect to the normal watches, you will see that smart watches have a GPS, they have the sensors, so they can measure your pulse rate, they can even tell you about your blood pressure also. Even some of the smart watches are doing the ECG also. In the same way, when we talk about the smart rail, so smart rail is also basically integration of different technologies. One is the IoT, Internet of Things. Second is the GPS. Third is the different sensors which measure the vibration and different parameters of a railway system. And when we integrate all these things, latest technology, advanced technology with the railway system, so then it comes the smart rail. So now question comes, what Bhatti Sahab says that, what are the hurdles? So when we are implementing this new technology or advanced technology, so it has a cost. So whether we can afford that cost with respect to the benefit. So sometimes we have to do the cost benefit analysis. If you remember that earlier Indian Railway, they have the vision or they have a plan to use a European Train Control System, ETCS level 2 in Indian system. And they invited bid, but later on when the cost came, they realized the cost is very high and Indian Railway cannot afford that high cost. So then we came our indigenous TICAS system. So biggest hurdle is the cost. Then second comes the technology integration. Because our system, railway is operating at a certain system, and when we want to use some new technology, so you have to integrate it with the legacy of the existing technology. So that is the second hurdle. Third is the interoperability. So when you are using one technology at one particular section and you have to move to the another section, so the technology change, it should be compatible with the older one technology, so the system is interoperable from one technology to the another technology. Then next is the data security here, because when we are using a like GPS or we are using the data of a passenger or some other form of data, so and we are connected our system with the internet, so then there is a chances of breach of the data security and cyber attack and cyber threat. So in metro system, they have a policy about the cyber threat even in Chennai metro. So when they invited bid, so they put a condition that you have to use these type of all these things, cyber attack measures. Then next is the training of the workforce. When you use a new technology or when you are implementing, so basically the manpower or workforce which is working on the ground, so they also should be trained, so they can adopt the technology and they can implement it. Then the public acceptance. So sometimes when you use some new things, it is not accepted by the public. And the last is the funding and investment. So these are basically different hurdles when you want to implement these kind of smart rail or transport system. So all these hurdles you have to face and you have to mitigate one by one.
Thank you, sir. Nicely explained. Sir, I think you are not heading BD and tendering, but you are heading so many areas. The way you have explained with so many examples. Now we have another panelist. I will come back to you, sir. I have more couple of questions. Shri Ashish Agarwal. Sir, I am really thankful to you because at the last moment you have agreed for the panel discussion. Mr. Ashish Agarwal, he is former GM of RCF from Indian Railways. He is mechanical engineering graduate and member of IRSC since 1984 batch. Has more than 37 years experience in rolling stock, manufacturing, maintenance, operation and many more. And 8 to 10 years I think you have also worked in the railway board. Sir, your unwavering dedication and exemplary leadership in Indian Railways will continue to be source of inspiration. Before I ask my question, I will give you the brief why I have asked this question. As global transportation networks expand, there is a need to prioritize sustainability and resilience. Rather, smart rail systems must also address environmental and operational challenges like malfunctions, cybersecurity, threats and wear and tear of infrastructures. My question starts now. Railways being efficient forms of mass transport is key to reducing carbon emissions, minimizing traffic congestion, and promoting cleaner urban mobility. Then how smart rail networks be designed to ensure long-term sustainability and resilience against environmental and operational challenges? This is my question.
Thank you, Mr. Bhatti. A very, very pertinent, very relevant question. Firstly, I thank Urban Infra for having invited me here and also having invited me to be part of this panel discussion which has such eminent panelists. I would like to give you the example through my field of working, that is the rolling stock. Basically, smart systems can be game changers or quantum jumps in terms of safety, reliability, and even passenger comfort. I'll tell you how. I'll try to tell you in a very simple, as simple as possible, in simple language. You see, the conventional systems of maintenance used to be the preventive maintenance, periodic maintenance systems where you check the entire train, for example, and you try to find the areas of defect, and then you worked on the areas which you found defective. So the pitfalls are, number one, you take a long time to check the systems. During checking of systems, it's quite possible that you might not detect something which will later on lead to a failure. And the time of maintenance increases. While as far as rolling stock is concerned, you have to keep it running as much as possible so that you get the adequate return. And I'm sure all of you know that railways with a very less input of rolling stock has massively increased their freight transportation and passenger transportation. And in this, the unsung heroes are the rolling stock people, because with the same amount of rolling stock, we are carrying multiple levels of passengers and multiple levels of freight, which is basically not talked about, but it is a fact. Now, the age-old systems of preventive maintenance suffers from what defects I told you. So you went in for reliability-centered maintenance systems, where you calculated the mean time between failures and things like that. I don't know, some of you may have read about it. But again, the pitfall is that it is not necessary that if one item fails in 24 months, then the another item may fail in 36 months, things like that. So now, the world over is moving towards predictive maintenance systems. And in Indian Railways also, a big fillip was taken, particularly in the era of Mr. Rajesh Agrawal when he was member. We got a lot of sanctions for what are called smart yards. And modern coach factory also introduced what was called a smart coach. So now I'll just try to tell you what in a simple language what this smartness was all about. If we talk about safety, the key items, key components for safety in a rolling stock, they are the roller bearing, the axles, then you have the wheels, and you have the undergear, the braking systems, and all the lever system, leverage system, where the braking is, where you can have a hanging part. Now, the conventional system was the train reaches the depot, and an examiner and his team, they check the entire train, and then based on the defects which they find, they rectify the defects. Now, the concept of smart coach would be, and smart systems would be, that we'd have wayside hot box detection systems. They can be of two types, through vibration or through sensing of of the heat between axles. Between various axles, the difference in the heat, temperatures of various axles, that would bring about a sort of pattern. So for hot axles, you can have hot box detectors. Then for, say, wheels, you can have what are called wild systems. They're called wild in Indian Railway parlance. Or you can have wheel detectors, wheel profile detectors. You can have wheel flat detectors. Or for the undergear maintenance, or for looking out for some hanging parts, some brake rigging, which has fallen off. Because you see, one thing which has happened in Indian Railways, and probably the mean time between two examinations in Indian Railways, particularly for goods trains, you will all be surprised. It is probably the maximum. I mean, we are maintaining our goods trains once in 30 days, once in 35 days, once in 45 days. It is probably one of the maximum in the world for the mean time between maintenance. So due to wear and tear, there is always a possibility that one of the hanging parts would fall, or one of the levers would come off, things like that. That is also possible. So you can have machine vehicle inspection systems on the sides, and all of these, they would capture the images of the particular train, and probably they will compare with the standard and would be able to detect what is the difference, between the two, between what is ideal and what is actual, and they would be able to work out where exactly is the problem. Now, the advantages of all these systems would be that we would be alerted much before the failure, and it would prevent a lot of, accidents, derailments, or it would prevent hot axle detachments, wagon detachments, all of which lead to a lot of downtime. Besides this, I don't want to make it very long, but I also would like to mention for coaches, for passenger comfort. For example, the prototype coaches which were turned out from MCF, they had what was called the PICU, P-I-C-C-U, an onboard system, wherein a lot of things were detected, and then they would be taken to a central server, and from there, you could monitor.
Yes.
So you can have a lot of systems being monitored. For example, air conditioning. How is the air conditioning of the coaches? Any fire alarm prevention that can be done. Passenger announcement systems, passenger indication systems, even something like a smell in a toilet. I mean, if a toilet is stinking or something, things like this also can be captured, and they can be monitored and taken to the depot where the maintenance will take place. So well before the train comes, all the information will be available. In fact, our EMUs and all already have, locomotives. They have such a sort of system wherein when the train comes, you download the entire data, and based on the downloaded data, you are able to predict, or you are able to make out where exactly the defects take place. So I hope I've made.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. You have explained nicely, and it shows that how deeply you were involved with Indian Railways with so many systems during your 37 years service in Indian Railways. I will again come back to you, sir. I have a couple of questions. My next question is to Mr. Kishore Nathani. Shri Kishore Nathani is MD and CEO Urban Mass Transit Company known as UMTC. UMTC, it provides sustainable solutions for improving mobility in urban and suburban areas through an integrated multimodal approach. They have excellence in planning, designing, development and operation of all sustainable urban mobility services delivers. Shri Nathani is associated with UMTC in various full-time and part-time advisory capacities since 2008 and now leading UMTC as MD and CEO. Sir, you have requested me in the morning. I am the only person who is mobility and I should be asked question at the last. Then I thought that from where should I start? By chance I got phone call from two of the panelists. Then ultimately I requested, ma'am, should I start from you? And she has accepted. That is why I am asking this question in the last. Now I will give you background of the question. As cities grow, demand for efficient, safe and sustainable mobility solutions increases. So far as the ITS is concerned, by integrating sensors, we can improve traffic flow, reduce congestion, enhance road safety and provide real-time information. So far as the open data is concerned, its initiatives promote innovation, leading to new apps, tools and services that can improve efficiency and user experience. My question is, what initiatives are currently being implemented to advance intelligent transport system, improve communication protocols and promote use of open data in the transportation sector? Question is clear, sir, or should I repeat?
Even if you repeat the question, it is still going to be difficult for me anyway.
Okay. Should I repeat?
No,
Or you
please.
can continue.
So, thank you, Jugal, for asking me at the last. In fact, this is the time when the goods train has also arrived, the passenger train has also arrived, and we are expected to take the last mile connectivity back to the home.
Yes.
So, I'm sure, we have talked about sensors, some have also talked about GPS and the likes. See, technology, when we say today, and then we say smart technology, this is the new normal. So when we say it is smart, it is supposed to be that way. So this is just technology. Now, when he talks about intelligent transport system, it is supposed to be intelligent. This is the new normal. In my case, when I'll still repeat the word as intelligent transport system, perhaps he is wanting to know more about what is the intelligence or the intelligence in the transport system pertaining to the moving objects. Because you have technology deployed on road which is fixed, So that is what it is. So if I have to say that this is the ITS, certain thing which is fixed, I am discounting that. So for me this becomes the ITS. And then we talks about
Advanced ITS.
advanced ITS, or you can say sustainable. Advanced means sustainable. So it becomes like this for me. And then when I make it only the rolling stock which is shared, believe you me, personal cars I have to discount it out. Scooters, car, जो भी अपना private है motorcycle उसको हटा दो. So this becomes ITS for me. And I am supposed to be talking about this. The point is, it is there, it is deployed. How you use it is the difficult part. And for that actually, a lot of initiatives have been taken by the Government of India, especially I am talking about the urban theatre. And in that, funds have been allocated for the shared public transport. Fund is no longer a constraint. Technology is getting deployed. In the past, the issue was pertaining to the project management. The project management has improved. And the other initiative which is there is, before we go on to the open data, we talk about open mobility protocol, because we are talking about protocol first and then the open mobility protocol. Now the demonstration of protocols has already been seen by us. We had COVID, we had COVIN, we have UPI, we had Arogya Setu. So the open protocol has been demonstrated very well in India at a mass population scale. Now is the time the testing is being done for the open mobility protocol. So you have the supplier side, you have the buyer side, you have the commuters, and you have the service providers in case of mobility. So that is an initiative which has been taken, and the development has already happened. You have ONDC, you have Beacon and the likes, but ONDC is getting demonstrated already. And in overall in the health sector, in the logistics sector, plus in the mobility sector too. So this is, I would say, developments or the movement forward has taken place. I would say the laggard still continues to be the openness of the data. Huge amount of data. I will not talk about the Indian Railways and the IRCTC. I can talk about more to do with the urban theatre, and I can talk about it through an example. You have Delhi Metro, about 250 odd stations. You have Gurgaon Metro, another maybe 20-30 odd stations. You have Noida Metro, another 20-30 odd stations. So you have a pool of about 300 stations within the national capital region. Huge amount of data is being collected every day, every hour, every 15 minutes. And when we talk about improving the mobility even further, there is a need of opening up that data. The public service improvement will happen with the opening of the data. And I'll give you a very small example. 250 stations or maybe 300 stations. Each of these stations have 3 exits. So maybe 1,000 exits. You know what is the passenger flow in and out of those exits. So if you provide the openness of that particular data to an individual like me, I will be able to deploy maybe the last mile connectivity vehicles straight in that particular, not only that building, but at that exit. And imagine the economies will change for the better. You will have more people coming into the metro and more people reaching home faster. This is one small example I am saying. Similarly, though the technology deployment has not happened much in the buses, but still with the electric buses coming in, it is going to improve. It has already improved and it is going to improve even further. Imagine that bus data was also opened up to people, for the developers, for the enthusiasts, for the open source community. What beautiful things can happen. Just think it over. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nicely explained, sir. I have been informed that hardly 5 to 6 minutes are left. I am skipping so many questions. My last question, common question to Mr. Anirudh Kumar and Madam Mona Srivastava. Because Nathani ji, you are from mobility, that is why this question is over, not being asked from you. Sir is from mechanical side, that is why I thought that only two should be. Starting, that reply should be first given by Mr. Anirudh Kumar, because I have gone through your profile, you have achieved so many national, international companies. Okay. Now I will give brief of my question. Globally, several countries have implemented smart transportation systems that integrate advanced technologies to create efficient, user-friendly and sustainable networks. I will give you examples of 3 countries, that is Japan, Germany and Singapore. If you see in Japan, in bullet train, I will give you an example of bullet train. Japan is renowned for its use of advanced technology to maintain punctuality, safety and high-speed performance. When I say about Singapore, Singapore has implemented a smart metro systems that provide real-time data on train operations and passenger flow. And when I say Germany, they has integrated big data and AI to predict delays, manage train traffic, everything is there. Now my question starts now. India with its rapidly urbanization population, using infrastructure and growing focus on sustainable development will face many challenges. Now what lessons can be drawn from successful global examples of smart rail and transport infrastructure, and how can they be applied in the Indian context? Shri Anirudh Kumar ji.
So thank you very much for the question. So now basically you are asking that what lessons which has been learned from the global rail system, global examples can be implemented in India. So first is, when we are designing a system, it should be user-centric. So that means we have to prioritize the passengers. We have to prioritize that what are their requirements and how that particular system can benefit to a passenger. So when we are designing, so first it should be user-centric. Second, how the public-private partnership can be utilized if we will see the global scenario and we will see in India. So still the railway is operated by the government of India, and there is a very little participation by the private companies in terms of equity participation. So even my company, they also want to work as a only implementer, not as a equity holder. So then we have to see how we can do. So as Mona ma'am has said that if we want to implement PPP, so we have to, government has to think how to share the risk. If you want to put entire risk over a private player, then it is not a lucrative proposal for a private company and they will never come forward. So risk sharing has to be there. Then if you will see the global scenario, so another is a data-driven decision making. So if you will see the global railway system, so they collect the data, they analyze it, and they make a decision based on the data. Then next is focus on the safety and security here. So one is the security of the passenger, second is the data security also here. Because in India still our systems are not so, you can say, theft proof or breach of data security. So we have to, even still this IT law are not so elaborate or stringent. So when we are implementing this smart rail system, so we have to see that cyber security and safety.
Thank
So
you.
I think that's, thank you.
Yes. Ma'am, would you like to add?
I would just like to add two things to this. You brought out, drawing from international examples. I'll just cite a small example to just illustrate what I want to say. It's not just private and public, or it's not just government and private. In a country like ours, within the government also, there are a lot of authorities. If I look at, say, the example of New Delhi redevelopment, which I was stirring way back since 2007-8, we came up with a transportation plan for New Delhi station redevelopment, and we thought ours was the only plan of mobility in that area. When we presented in front of Honorable LG in UTPEC, DDA, because the plans in Delhi, big infra projects are to be cleared by DDA. So they said that, you see, you can't just come up with a plan. There are already so many developmental plans already underway in your area. And I mean, it was shocking that we were just not aware of it. We were oblivious of it. NDMC was coming up with some redevelopment on our Paharganj side. MCD was already looking at widening of Bhavbhuti Marg. Then PWD was doing the Barapula project, which was crossing our railway track at some point. Now, the Chief Secretary of Delhi at that time was kind of given this assignment to bring over all these agencies together so that railway comes up with an integrated plan for transportation in Connaught Place area. That is not just for New Delhi redevelopment, but for the general benefit of the city. And as a part of that, I undertook a study of almost 5-kilometer radius around New Delhi station redevelopment that was undertaken by RITES only. And we came up with an integrated plan. What I just want to bring about is that if you look at a redevelopment anywhere internationally, you can say Zuzu, they are coming up with the trackless train. Zurich is doing a lot of work over smart rail. Europe is far ahead of us, but the problem is they have a unified authority. So there are no issues of integration. In India, the first thing that we have to look as a public body is that we have a unified mobility plan, a unified metropolitan authority for specialized projects like this, so that we have a very directed developmental plan, and there are no clashes, there's no duplicacy, there's no redundancy. That's all that I would like to add.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. We have only 3 seconds. I think I should discontinue further. Ma'am, if you allow me, I can want to ask only one question. If you reply only for 30 seconds. Can I ask only one question? That is important question. Financing of mega infrastructure projects that involve a very high investments, long gestation periods, high sunk costs, risks, social and environment issues. As per your experience, what could be the possible changes required in the present financing system, both at national and international level?
I would say just 2 things. Very good financing model. Second, building in all the risks.
Okay.
I would just talk of 2 things.
Yes.
The financial model, the business model. Elaborate planning every nitty-gritty of the project. Extensive planning, lesser execution time. And third, risks. Building in all the risks of both the sides completely into the project. That would lead to the best delivery. These are the
Thank you very much, madam. Now time is up. Thank you so much for all the eminent panelists for your sharing your remarkable insights. I also thank to all the audience for a patience listening, and I hope all of you have enjoyed insights. I wish I could have taken more questions from the panelists and also given permission to the audience to ask the questions. But there are always challenges to put panel discussion in the time-bound manner. Hence, I am not continuing further. Thank you very much.
Thank you to our panelists for enriching discussion and for sharing your expertise with us. Your insights have truly added great value to the event today. Now, I would like to request Mr. Surya sir to present a token of gratitude to the panelists. Surya sir is the Executive Director of Urban Infra Group. I request sir to please present a token of gratitude to Ms. Mona Srivastava ma'am, Chief Engineer, Indian Railways. Can we please have a big round of applause, everyone? I know it's a big day, but can we please have a big round of applause? I request sir to please give a token of gratitude to Mr. Kishore Nathani sir, MD and CEO, UMTC. Can we please have a big round of applause, everyone? I request Surya sir to please provide a token of gratitude to Mr. Ashish Agarwal sir, former GM, RCF Kapurthala. Can we please have a big round of applause, everyone? I request Surya sir to please provide a token of gratitude to Mr. Aniruddha Kumar sir, Senior VP and Head BD, Kalpatru Projects International Limited. Can we please have a big round of applause for sir? I know it has been a big day, but can we please have a big round of applause for sir? I request Surya sir to please provide a token of gratitude to Mr. Jugal Kishore Bhatti sir, former AGM, RIT ES Limited. Can I please have a big round of applause, everyone? Thank you so much to our amazing panelists. With this, I request everyone to please give a big round of applause for yourself for cooperating for the event. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Your cooperation and effort means a lot. With this, we conclude day 1 of the Urban Infra 2024 Summit. We hope you found today's sessions insightful and engaging. Please join us for tea and further networking opportunities before we close for the day. We look forward to see you all again tomorrow for another day of learning and collaboration. Thank you and have a great evening. I also request you all to please visit these stalls and please appreciate the efforts the people are putting. Thank you so much. Have a good day.